I loved that story because it helped me understand my own father, who was born about a decade later in small-town Idaho. Dad was an infantryman during World War II. He managed to live through Omaha Beach, but was shot about a month later at St. Lo. One of my earliest memories was feeling the scar in his back and wondering what the bullet must have felt as it came through and exited there. I often tried to get Dad to talk about the war, but he simply told me it was a terrible thing to see your friends suddenly die beside you as a German bullet ripped through them. I was always surprised that Dad never expressed any hatred of the Germans, only respect. They were great soldiers, he said. They were fighting for their country just as I was fighting for mine. In general, Dad was a gentle father, though he spanked me a few times, but he rarely seemed to get angry. One of the few things that would make him really angry, though, were words that attacked another man's honor, that denied the reality of anything good a man had done. Dad had little respect for money or social standing. He figured that all a man really had was whatever good he had done. If he had ever heard me refuse to recognize a man's legitimate past as a way to trivialize him and gloat over him and gain a few points for my political side, my dad would have whipped me hard, and he would have been furious as he did it. Perhaps that seems like a strange ethic, the ethic of forgetting people's past and respecting them for their more recent accomplishments. It wasn't strange out west. Most people didn't move there because they were the cream of Boston society. My dad's grandfather moved from Indiana to Oklahoma, and somewhere around Kansas changed his family name from Good to Hayes. I don't know what terrible things he may have done in Indiana. I don't care. So I'd be glad to tell Jesse that my first reason for signing that endorsement was my Western upbringing. Anyone who bothers to read the Support Heirs website will see that it contains no hint of honoring what I also regard as Professor Ayers' terrorist actions in the Weather Underground. The statement on the website merely acknowledges that, despite his ill-spent youth, Professor Ayers has become a productive and honorable adult, a teacher, and an important advocate for education. In fact, he became a prominent enough person that he was named Citizen of the Year in Chicago in 1997. Good for him, I say. The second and closely related kind of experience that has given me a perspective different from Jesse's is that I've spent more than 25 years as a teacher, and a very serious one. I believe that people learn, change, become better people. And when they do, it makes me really glad and proud for them. It may or may not come as a surprise to Jesse, but undergraduates can be foolish, petty, and reprehensible. Sometimes they are much more proud of what they take to be their brilliance than they ought to be. Sometimes they are self-righteous and judgmental, cruel, and dismissive. Many of them waste educational opportunities, squander money, and betray their parents' goodwill in years of binge drinking, drugs, self-indulgence, and skipped classes. Many take advantage of temporary lovers. Some cheat on tests. Sometimes they may even distort other people's ideas to make themselves look good. Some undergraduates never escape their youthful evils, but most do. They get older, they mellow, they change. They quit the drugs and alcohol. They get jobs and work hard. They become good people. Good for them, I say. When I look at the mugshot of Bill Ayers when he was in his 20s, I see an arrogant, pompous dumbass. He looks likely to come to no good end. By all rights, he should have spent quite a while in prison for what he did. But the legal system screwed up. He was never convicted for those crimes. He got lucky, and he made the most of his good luck. He apparently became a pretty good man and an excellent citizen. Good for him. As a teacher, I'm glad to see that he outgrew the folly of his youth. I wish that for all my students. I wish that for Jesse. The third, and again closely related kind of experience that has shaped my mindset is my Christian faith. Christians who conscientiously struggle to understand and live by our faith are familiar with Jesus' peculiar and offensive refusal to denounce bad people, like prostitutes and Jews who collaborated with Romans, though plenty of other people in his time were quick to condemn such people as lawbreakers, haters of good, and traitors to Israel. Conscientious Christians know that the people Jesus most ferociously and publicly denounced were the self-righteous people who tried to make themselves look really good by denouncing bad people. Jesus took joy in the return of the prodigal son and seemed to think there was something sadly wrong with the boy's angry brother who just couldn't forget the bad he had done and couldn't understand their father's joy when his father said, "Son, your brother who was dead is alive again. He was lost, and now he's found. Of course we should throw a party for him." And then there's the fact that so many of the great heroes of the Christian faith were known for having done really bad things. King David, who had taken another man's wife and had the man killed. St. Paul, who had killed Christians and tried to wipe out the faith in its infancy. So that's why I think people like Professor Hutchinson are making a wiser and better choice than you, Jesse. Because the constructive traditions I have grown up in have all taught me that we should let go of one another's offensive pasts whenever we can reasonably do so. The frontier pragmatism of my Western upbringing, my long experience of teaching, and my persistent attempts to live as a faithful Christian all point towards a similar conclusion. Both the world and our individual souls are made worse when we delight in ignoring the good things other people do in favor of condemning them for their messed up pasts. Both the world and our individual souls are ennobled when we honestly rejoice at the good changes in one another's lives. That's what I'd tell Jesse about why I chose to go on record as being proud of what Bill Ayers has done in the past 20 years. To the best of my lights, that doesn't mean that I support terrorism or violence. I hope it doesn't mean, as some of the people on the website have said, that I'm a dope, a moron, a lunatic, or a brainwasher of my students. And I guess that's what I'd hope everybody interested in this discussion would notice. Neither our national union nor our people are threatened by ordinary citizens like Bill Ayers, Jalen Hutchinson, or even me. Really, we're just struggling people, not monsters. Whatever our pasts or our current flaws, we're just trying to do a little bit of good in the world before we die. What thoughtful Americans should fear, both for our nation and for our individual souls, is the kind of self-righteous demagoguery that excuses acts of sabotage against the honor of our fellow citizens who have demonstrably left behind the mistakes of their past. For all such people, including Bill Ayers, I say, good for them.